Anyone wishing to speak to the board needs to come up to the podium, state your name, what school your child attends, and the topic on which you wish to speak. You will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Ansel will keep track of that with a 30-second warning. And tonight we will spend no longer than 15 minutes on public comment. We do have a lengthy agenda. Mr. Dunlap will keep track of the 15 minutes. And please remember that personal attacks upon board members, staff, personnel, or other persons, whether they are here or absent, by individuals who address the board are highly discouraged. You are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey an unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the speaker to civil action for defamation. So with that, I will open it up to the first speaker.
Hello, good evening. Jesus Rodriguez, Lee Elementary. I was here last month. Drive-through situations. All we're looking is for change. We want change. We want to be able to get off our cars and go pick up our child, and not having to be in a line for hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours waiting in line. We want to go back to where our parents used to pick us up, get off their cars or wait for them in the cars and go grab them. That's all we're looking for, change. Why try to enforce something if it's not even a policy or a law? It's a procedure y'all have. Drive-through is a procedure y'all have. It's not a policy, it's not a law. Why try to enforce it with authorities? Because there has been authorities at Lee Elementary trying to enforce it, and they've told me to get back in line, but I went to go sign out my kid. So that's all we're looking for: change in our drive-through situation. We want options. We want to be able to get off, go get our children, not having to. Our kids get out at 3 o'clock. Okay, let's leave the house at 15 minutes till. Not an hour and a half or 2 hours before 3 o'clock. We want change. We want something different. You want to have drive-through? Drive-through for those that can't make it, can't get off their cars. We want people that want to get off and get their child by their hands, they be willing to get off. That's what we're looking for, just change. We want change. They said it's been going on for 17 years. I don't believe it. I don't think it's been going on for 17 years. The drive-through system. We just want that freedom, that right to be able to get off and go get our kids, and not being intimidated, because we're not intimidated to go by the authorities, having the authorities there to intimidate us, telling us to go get in line. We don't want that. We want to be just freely to go and get our child. That's our child y'all talking about. That's our child. But I don't know if y'all willing to change, to talk about it, or any changes. Maybe y'all could talk about it, work on it, on the situation. And it's just not Lee Elementary. It's other schools too. We're just looking for change. That's what. Being able to have that right to walk up and get our child.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Any other speakers?
Thank you. My name is Stephen Quickle. I'm with the Juvenile Probation Office here in Lee County. I'm here to let the school board know, and just to introduce myself, I am a field officer who has filled a position that has not been filled for approximately 10 years. And part of my job duties are to go into the schools where we do have some troubled teens who are needing some guidance, who have been referred to the Juvenile Probation Office for various offenses. And I just wanted to let the board know, administration know, and the principals know who I am and why I'm at these various schools. Most of the time, I will be going to the high school, New Hope, Taylor, but I know we have previously had referrals for children as young as 7. So I could be going to the elementary schools, just depending on those situations. I've been in this community for a long time. I've worked for the state for approximately 16 years, 10 with the juvenile probation office, but I just now recently took this position. And I love working for this area. I'm an alumni from this school, and I do want to echo the concerns by the previous speaker. The drive-through area is a very dangerous area. I've had several people from the community complain about it, and up to the point where people are, for the Lee School drive-through, they're going and parking all the way out to Gum Street, which is over a mile. At Llano, there are several near misses of people hitting cars. I know recently they have restricted entry to allow pickups in person, but that has now progressed to worse traffic, from what I've been told. I am unfortunately not able to pick up my son because of my work non-traditional hours, but he is a student at Llano Elementary, and it is very concerning about the safety as far as the driving of people in the community on 2nd Street. People having to park blocks away, and now they don't have the option to park. They have to do a drive-through. And I echo the previous speaker. I would love to see a change in that. That is all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pickle. Are there any other people here tonight that wish to speak? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move on into the information, and we'll begin with the superintendent updates.
Yes, so you have reports in your packet, and also before you have our strategic plan and portrait of graduate sticker. And I also wanted to show you that our mission and vision has been completed, and so this will be placed in front of every office and then in every classroom as well. The frames will be in front of the office, and then our portrait of a log cat. The frame is going to be in front of the office, and then every teacher will have one of these in their classroom. And those were delivered today. And let's see if there are any questions.
Okay, questions from the board?
Just on that part?
Just on her superintendent stuff. We'll do we split up superintendent and directors. You probably saw that, yeah. So.
I have a question about the drug and alcohol testing program. Does that pertain solely to students?
Yes.
We don't drug or alcohol test any of our teachers, or?
Only if we suspect.
Okay.
Also, Mrs. Ansel, are you referring to the DOT physical for suburban drivers? They're included in there too.
Yeah, I knew
The teachers are included in there.
bus drivers and DOT drivers were. I just didn't know about classroom teachers at any level, if they were ever drug or alcohol tested, just if suspected. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the superintendent at this time? Okay, we'll move into the director's reports. I'll open it up for board members to ask questions. Any questions?
I think I answered one already.
Okay. Okay. All right. You guys got off light.
Mr. Baker, I would like to formally introduce Mr. Murad, our AD. So
Glad to have you here, sir.
Yes, he has hit the ground sprinting, not running and sprinting.
like to say I really, really did appreciate the report you submitted. That was a very good report, so thank you for that. Because covering not only the upcoming athletics, but the band and things like that. So appreciate that. It was a nice report. So.
I was just gonna point out too, on the superintendent update, the PM plan approval. Congratulations, that's outstanding work, right? I mean,
It's
it's a
great
good job, yeah.
getting those scores, so we're very proud
Right,
of that.
that's good.
Thank you.
Good to see.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we're going to move right on into routine matters. We will take items 1 through 4 as part of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept items 1 through 4 as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yours didn't? It'll fly over there in a minute, huh?
Move down the line.
Can you mark it for her? Okay, next item, budget adjustments.
There is one budget adjustment, and this is due to the unit value revision by PED, which resulted in us receiving around $895,000.
And we will so hope that they don't revise it again and say, oh, we made a mistake, because we've had that happen. Hopefully not. Thank you,
Is
Jamie.
there a deadline or anything on that? I mean, or can they just say whatever? I mean, the adjustment, on any of these adjustments like this?
Sometimes at the end of the year, once they have all of the numbers in for membership, they could possibly adjust.
Oh, we take some money back?
Yeah, we've had that happen.
Thank you.
Okay, and we do not have any bids or donations tonight, so, oh, I need to do a, sorry, do I hear a motion to accept the budget adjustments as presented?
Second.
There are.
Yeah, they're just not attachments, they're just listed in the.
Donations.
Okay, okay, thank you.
They are listed.
Okay, I stand corrected. We do have some donations. And so I'll turn it over to the superintendent to talk about those.
If you have any questions, we're very grateful and thankful for the donations that were presented to different programs in the district. Like you'll see that money was given to the Leamington High School STEM Lab and Quest Center, very faithful donor, H.F. Sinclair. Coach Sloan donated a treadmill to the athletic program, and this is to help with rehab for all athletes. Estacado for beginning of the year practice for breakfast, and Eastern for FCCLA, which was nice. And then Lucky Services to Taylor Middle School for activity tables. So,
What are activities?
I'll say, what is an activity table?
well,
Because see, the early childhood person in me is like
I know,
picturing a
that's what I'm
Lego
thinking.
table.
puzzles
You know,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's like,
Well, I'm assuming it's like for games and things.
For activities?
Yeah.
for activity.
It's a flat
It's a
spot
table
for
for activities.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, okay. Thank you for clarifying
Just
that.
That's
I
they don't have a
automatically
STEM
went to
lab.
science,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm thinking because it is tailored that it is probably for kiddos over there.
For sure.
those
Okay.
Administrators are doing a good job trying to get things working.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
It is for science, I'm just told.
It is what?
It is for activities, science activities.
Science. Okay. All right.
Makes sense.
Thank you. All right. We always appreciate the generosity of our community. So do I hear a motion to accept the donations as presented?
No move.
I'll second.
Vanessa, do you need a minute to call him? Okay, so we've got flexibility, so I would like to move on because items 1 and 2 will require participation from a phone call. So I would like to move on to item 3, consider approval of resolution in support of State Board of Education. And does the superintendent have anything you want to say, or?
Well, the 9th, if you count the interim, Secretary of Education was named today, Mariana Padilla was named today by Governor Grisham. And so this is a resolution supporting the reorganization of having the State Board of Education instead of relying just on a Secretary of Education.
Does this go along with the, there was some legislation, I think, last year, right?
Yes.
Does this go along with that?
Yes, and I went to the superintendent and asked about the possibility of us considering it, and the reason is exactly, it's very frustrating. And,
Sure.
Like I was telling in an earlier conversation, if I'm playing a game with my 5-year-old granddaughter, I expect the rules to change.
For sure.
But when we're talking about making decisions to do the best possible educational opportunity for our students, this constant changing, it makes it really, really difficult. So I don't think any of these systems is without its challenges, but clearly what we've been doing with the Public Education Department and Secretary is not working. And so I think it's certainly worth considering, but I would definitely like to hear feedback from all the board members.
Oh, I'm behind it 100%, and I appreciate you bringing it back up again. I've had several people contact me because they're trying to get certified as subs and even long-term subs. And when we don't have a Secretary of Education in there to sign paperwork to get that done, it puts us in a bind. And so having it out of that office would help.
And I did talk to one of our area senators, Senator Gallegos, about it. And I said, is this still very active in the legislature? And he said, yes, but the ground level support is so important because, like you said, it was brought up last year. Being a 30-day session, it was not going to really be addressed very much. But I think that the more awareness that we can have, that really goes towards that local decision making and enables you to make a plan. I mean, how many different directives do you get based on who the secretary is?
And didn't we have this type of governance before, years ago?
About,
Mhm.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
so it's been over
Public-
20 years.
Yeah.
We hadn't figured it out by then.
It's not getting better.
Right.
It's getting worse.
Mr. Dunlap, what do you think?
I think it's silly the way they do everything up there.
Mr. Bishop?
I like it.
You really can't even depend on nothing up there.
Yeah. I was supportive of that legislation for sure, and I think if this goes along with it, then if that's what we need, the ground root, the ground floor support, then I'm all about supporting it.
This is with this governor.
Right. No, I know that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I mean.
It's 4 in 4 years, but 9 since she took turn. Yeah.
Okay, well, appreciate y'all's support on this. So with that, do I hear a motion to approve this resolution supporting the State Board of Education?
So move.
Second.
My vote box didn't come up, but I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna go back to items 1 and 2. I think we have now made connection. Is Eric? Hello?
Yep, good evening.
Okay.
Madam President, board members, Eric Kerrigan, RBC Capital Markets. Joining me is Art Lindris with Monty Law Firm.
Good job.
Hopefully you all can hear me fine.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sorry.
Excellent. So you have two items that are before you tonight. There is a short presentation that I will go over if you have it in front of you. Just wanted to, talk about your assessed valuation, what your tax base is doing. Your tax base continues to grow. You saw about 4.5% growth in your tax base last year. That was a combination of about 5.7% growth in your residential tax base. You saw about 2% growth in your non-residential, and then about 5% growth in oil and gas. Oil prices have come down a bit, so we're expecting this fiscal year to be a little bit lower than last year. And so as we look at structuring setting your tax rate and looking at what bonds we're going to be redeeming and what the education technology notes the district will be able to issue next year, we assume that the district would only collect about 65% of what your current oil and gas values are, just to be on the conservative side. So we do have a history of your various tax rates. The district has an operational mill levy in place. You have your 2 mill levy in place, as well as your HB 33. And you also have 2 tax rates in place dedicated to the repayment of debt, which is your general obligation bonds at $6.59, and then your education technology note rate at 62 cents. So your total combined debt service rate for all debt is $7.22. And this has been very consistent over the prior years. And as we kind of talked tonight about the redemption as well as the education technology notes, it continues to maintain that overall $7.22 tax rate that the district has outstanding. Currently, the district has $22.9 million in outstanding bonds. And then just in terms of future planning, the last time that the district went out for its 2 mill levy election was in 2023. We're recommending that the district go back to voters in 29, continue that mill levy. And then you're on your HB 33. Your most recent election was in 2021. And your next election would be scheduled for 2027. So last time that the board had a GO bond election was a while ago. It was 11 years ago, and they went out $35 million. All of those bonds have been issued, and the district has just been working on paying those bonds off. Depending upon what your tax rate does, your tax base does, it's possible that we may be looking at going back to voters for additional authorization in the next few years to continue to maintain that tax rate. But that will ultimately depend on how much debt the district will be able to pay off as its tax base grows, and without impacting what the district's historical debt service tax rate has been. So before you today specifically, there is a resolution to redeem and or defease bonds that are currently outstanding. So that after your October 1 payment, the district will have approximately $5.1 million in debt service fund balance. We'll be using about $4.2 million of that to pay off existing debt. It also provides some interest cost savings to the district. Specifically, we would be looking at paying off the 2015 bond in the amount of $3.5 million, and those bonds would be maturing in 2025 through 2029, and then the 25 maturity for the 2021 bonds. And then in addition, the district has accumulated funds in action items that are before you, but, you know, subject to your approval tonight, we would move forward, set the interest rate with the state treasurer on October 2nd. We'd be back before you at a special board meeting for the board to adopt the ETN resolution, and then the bonds would close on or around November 13th. And then, since this is just a very short one-day loan bonds, the notes would be payable the following day, and those education technology notes would be paid off. And regarding the redemption or repayment of the 2015 and 2021 bond, you know, subject to your approval tonight, we would move forward with getting out the redemption notices, as well as, you know, getting ready to defeat the 2021 bonds. And then that would officially, that the redemption and defeasance would close on October 23rd. With that, I know it's quite a bit of information, but I'd be happy to answer any questions, and or turn it over to Art if you'd like to provide any additional comment.
Good evening, board members, superintendent. Eric has covered the factual financial background, and for me, I know you've got quite an agenda, so unless you have questions, I would just turn this to the superintendent for a recommendation that we adopt the necessity resolution for the educational technology transaction. And I would prefer one motion, and then we have a second motion to defease and redeem your outstanding bonds. But I'll stand for questions. The documents are in front of you, and they comply with New Mexico state and federal law. And I don't want to say this is a routine process, but it is legally sufficient to go forward.
Thank you, Art. I appreciate you adding that. And so I'm going to open it up at this time to any questions from board members.
I don't have any. They've never steered us wrong.
Tanya, was there anything else you needed to add? The superintendent's recommendation?
To accept.
Yes. We are certainly grateful to have this opportunity. You guys always do such a great job of explaining all of this. The only thing, and I was trying to find it when I read through it earlier, when you put in here that you're going to post it in the newspaper, you have the Hobbs News-Sun, and that needs to be changed to the Lovington Leader. We do have a local newspaper, and I think several years ago the board said, you know, as long as we have a local paper, that's where that will be published. So I can't find it as
Section 7 of the necessity resolution.
Okay.
I got it. I'll fix it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll make sure.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the only thing I had noticed, and always appreciate y'all's clarity and willingness to explain it in language that some of us can understand. Some of us struggle with some of this, so appreciate that.
Thanks for.
And we do have it as two motions, so with that, we will be moving forward with that, so.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great, thank you very much.
if there are no other questions, then do I hear a motion on item 1, approval of the ETN necessity resolution as presented with the noted correction?
Yes, so moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. And moving right into item 2, do I hear a motion for the approval of the defeasance resolution as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Gentlemen, thank you. Both of those did pass, and so we appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Evening.
Okay, we'll see you next
Have a good
month.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for attending. Goodbye.
Okay. Apparently Siri knew it. All right, thank you. Okay, so we are going to move right on into item 4, consider approval of changes to policy regulation J 2361.
Yes, so I'm bringing this for the board to bring in consistency in the dress code for kindergarten through 12th graders, and it's just an update.
So there's no changes in the dress code per se, it's just clarifying that it covers all grades.
District-wide.
Okay. Should it be pre-K? I mean, I don't know.
We can put that in there.
Or does it need to be all grades? I don't know.
We can put
I mean,
it in
I don't
pre-K.
really notice that we have a problem at preschool with this, but they're usually well groomed and, you know.
We'll put in there district-wide.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, just to change it to be all grades. So, questions from the board? Okay. This is a policy change, so it's not really changing the policy, it's just clarifying that word. The dress code policy in of itself did not change, so we can take action on that tonight. So do I hear a motion to approve the change in wording of clarification on that policy?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item. First reading to consider approval of amended policy J 6950.
Okay, J 6950 is our student fees, fines, and charges policy. And while we won't deny attendance of our students who are not enrolled in the Leamington school system, there's been an influx of non-Leamington school system district students wanting to participate in extracurricular activities. And there's a cost involved, and so we saw a huge influx this beginning of the school year. And so just wanting you guys to read through the policy and consider if this is something that we need to do as a district. So you have before you the policy, and there's just a couple of lines that are added to the policy.
Questions from the board?
Oh, I do have a question. Are the fees set in the manual, or do the parents know ahead of time how much the fee is?
So that would be given to our parents upon those who want to participate in extracurricular activities, but we're not going to just set a fee to put in policy. It's going to have to be according to what the cost.
Activity is, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I was gonna say different activities.
Because it changes.
Have different costs. Yeah.
Mr. Bishop, did you have something?
I was just trying to wrap my head around this a little bit. Are we asking for issues if, with the statement of fees may be waived for students who are enrolled full-time at Leamington Municipal School District, LMSD? So is that basically saying a kid that's not enrolled full-time would be subject to fees while kids that are enrolled full-time are correct? Okay.
I'll give you an example. Just a football helmet is $400.
Right.
Just one.
Right.
Up to $600.
I think maybe, is there an explanation for, and I think I know the answer to this, but maybe just for clarity's sake, does the district get some sort of funding for that kid that's enrolled versus the kid that is not enrolled, right? So that, I think, may just need a clarification somewhere on, you know what I mean? To where it doesn't look like, which we all know, I feel like, what the answer is, but I think just for somebody reading this outside might want some clarification on that.
Well, and I wonder, is it covered
And it may be covered.
in this first sentence?
I didn't see it.
Where it says, recognizes the need for fees to fund certain school activities that are not financed by local, state, or federal funds. So a child who is not enrolled full-time in the district, we receive no local, state, or federal funds for that child. So I'm wondering if it's covered there.
Yeah, I think it is,
Okay,
but I think
okay.
maybe just a little clearer, you know what I mean?
Okay.
A little, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we want to be clear on that. And I did notice, I mean, you can charge for materials, you can charge for activities, but you don't charge for both. And if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're wanting to look at is activities, because that would cover the band uniform, and it does state in here, it's for non-required, so it's not a matter of English or math or any of those.
Would that student, say if he paid for a football helmet, and get to keep that football helmet at the end of the year? If he was charged a fee?
I guess we need to look at that, that's something we need to discuss.
Or band uniform, or, you know what I mean?
Would the be?
Yeah, see, I would struggle with that, because I figure whatever the fee is, the cost may or may not completely be covered.
Sure. No, I agree with
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm just
But I
asking.
think being very clear in our,
Yeah.
Not just the equipment, but, it's transportation.
Sure. I realize there's a lot of,
and the supervision. One thing that I appreciate is that our junior high does not have, currently, if I'm wrong, we have a no-cut policy at our junior high level. And there's somewhere they can play.
Sure.
And so, which is great, because some kids don't really come into their own until they get to high school, but there's still a cost. So that coach/coaches could have additional people to supervise and coach, whether it's Science Olympiad, band, basketball.
Well, and when they go on out-of-town trips, because I know, with Science Olympiad, we pay for the hotel room and the food and a lot of other stuff involved in that student that we didn't get any funding for.
And to clarify, this is every activity that is covered under NMAA, correct?
Say that again.
Every activity that is covered under NMAA. So things like our local science fair and our art fair, non-Lovington students are not eligible to do that.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
does it say that in here?
Now that's an NMAA regulation. I'm almost positive. I'll look at.
Well, that's what I mean, because I think reading this with the third paragraph there, that almost contradicts, well, I guess the example maybe, right, of a need for a helmet, because it's saying it, students will not be required to supply specific types of supplies or equipment.
But I think the caveat is a required course. That's what they're talking
Or
about.
project, right? It says
Right, but it has to be a required, so that's for, graduate your
Okay.
core subjects.
It's not specifically to an NMAA
Right,
thing.
right.
I got you. Okay.
So this is a first reading. You may have additional questions after you look through it. Please reach out to the superintendent and/or the athletic director for clarification on this policy. Thank you for bringing that. Okay, next item. First reading to consider approval of I-7100 and the accompanying Exhibit I-7381.
Right, so this was a policy that Dr. Parker and I brought before the board, I believe in July. And it is class rankings and grade point averages. So you will see policy I-7100 and Exhibit 7381. And let me go to Exhibit 7381 real quick. There's some cleanup there with the alternative demonstration of competency, because that is no longer a requirement from the PED. So we just needed to clean that up in this exhibit. And also in that first paragraph, with that last sentence about dual credit, will not be recognized as honors credit for purposes of weighted grade point averages and class ranking. So with that said, we go back to policy I-7100, and we have our high school counselors here as well, and they have done a phenomenal job of breaking down all of the courses and showing on a spreadsheet which courses would receive that honors credit, I believe. And those courses sometimes change every year due to what we can offer. And I'll let Dr. Parker speak on this a little bit. We needed to bring it back up to you guys just to show you the changes that the counselors have worked really hard with Dr. Parker and Mr. Williams.
And if I can just interrupt, if you're looking for that spreadsheet, it's under superintendent's report.
Yes.
So, thank you, Dr.
And they did do a great job of putting that
Absolutely.
together, because part of the issue with this is, honestly, to go back to 2018, when this policy said that dual credit wouldn't be honored, wouldn't get honored credit, weighted credit. That was, I guess, never really communicated to the people who were inputting weighted grades. It wasn't changed in our system. It wasn't changed in Tyler. It wasn't changed with the counselors. And we feel like, all of our students' records reflect weighted grades for the dual credits or the honors classes that are on that spreadsheet. And so we feel like it's the right thing to do to make sure that the policy matches practice, I guess, and beg your forgiveness that board policy, I want to say I wasn't here, but I can assure you that we have a system in place now when board policy is changed for rolling it out and making sure that the people who are impacted know what the impact is. But it was never changed in the system to be done the way board policy stated. So we're asking to correct it.
So this is not corrected yet?
This is what we're asking to correct to match what you see in that attachment.
So this spreadsheet is the proposed. Okay,
The
not the
spreadsheet-
current.
The spreadsheet
Oh,
is
there is a thing for
current.
current, yeah.
Yes.
Those are the classes that have been weighted since they were starting to be offered and are weighted at this time. So it's dual credit, it's the only class, honors classes, that sort of thing. Whereas if we follow the policy as it's written, dual credit wouldn't be weighted, you wouldn't get weighted grades for that, and they do. So if it's, core classes and that sort of thing, and you can see some college classes that dual credit, early college, they get weighted grades, some of them don't. Right, the core classes, that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
So,
With the weighting?
so New Mexico Studies honors currently receives that, but it will no longer receive that. Is that
No,
what?
it would still get it.
I think it's not a dual credit, right? Is that what you're looking at?
There's honors classes and there are dual credit classes.
You
And
gotta
so all-
forgive the user lack of ability here, so. Because
See, it
see what it
says
says, yes,
So yes, it's receiving the weighted.
okay, so it is,
Currently
yes,
it's
and it's
offered, yes.
currently.
But it's not a,
Like that 8th grade
Dual
New
credit.
Mexico history class, that's the honors class,
yeah.
because everybody had to have an honors class.
Okay,
I guess and maybe I missed it.
So,
and thank you to our counselors, I can't imagine how tedious this was.
I'm sorry, the policy, the part that we want to clean up is that dual credit is weighted, and the policy says dual credit shouldn't be weighted.
okay, so
And so
those
you're
yeses will
recommending
go
that
to
dual
those.
credit be weighted?
That we strike that out.
Okay, I just
so-
wanna make sure that we're all
Correct.
clear on what we're wanting to do
So if
here.
we go to the policy I-7100, where it talks about class rankings for grade and GPA, and down that last bullet says right now, solid academic courses identified as honors will earn an additional 0.25 points added to the overall solid grade point average. Only honors courses which are offered at Levington High School in alignment with the courses offered during the corresponding school year will be given the indication of weighting for the purposes of rank. And then, so which would mean you go to the JC, it's not weighted. That's what then over on the exhibit I-7381 specifically says dual credit will not earn honors credit. And we're saying that's not fair, because if we start following the policy, which, you know, that's kind of why we found it, because I said we're not following this policy, and we go back in time from when the policy was written, it didn't change, and they continued for those, I guess, core classes, their English, their history, their science at the JC, the dual credit, even the dual credit on our campus, you know, because it was at Levington High School. Oh, well, that one can have dual honors weight, but the one at the JC can't. So it's really not fair to kids.
So can you explain coursework that is taken at the junior college? Will it apply? Will it now have honors credit?
The ones that are on there, it has been receiving honors credit, the ones that say weighted. Not every class at the JC will receive weighting, just more like the core classes. You know, if you take PE at the JC, you're not going to get a weighted grade for that.
But intro to psychology, you are.
Right. Higher level type of classes.
See, okay, are we voting on this tonight?
No, it's a first reading.
Okay, because they're getting college credit for it. I don't know why we would do more high school credit for them. I don't think.
They would, right?
Yeah. They have been.
Well, and that young lady brought it to us in May, that she intentionally did not go to take junior college classes because she wanted to be valedictorian, and those classes she understood would not be weighted, and then they were. And we had a conundrum. And I just feel like our students that stay on our campus deserve some priority. But anyway, that's just discussion. If you want to go,
that
JC,
was a
go,
discussion.
but-
I know that was a discussion that happened way back when this happened, as far as the assurance, and I have no idea, so I'm not, trying, but the assurance of is, and I'll grab intro to psychology. I hope none of y'all are the professor. I don't mean it personally, but is intro to psychology an honors course, or are we giving it honors credit simply because it's offered through the junior college, or is it an upper level course? And I think that's where the question comes in, is, so I think that's something the board's going to have to really, think about how to do that.
And that's why we asked them to create a spreadsheet as opposed to putting that in board policy, because it could change every year. If we say, you know what, this course, we've done the research, it's at a higher level, it's like an AP course, so we're asking our students, because, they are taking a higher level course, we're asking that they have a weighted grade for that, because it's the equivalent of what an AP class would be at, because they can take AP and not get any college credit for it, whereas, yeah, they're getting college credit, but they're also taking, in our mind, a higher level course. Similar to AP or whatever, and just, I'm saying that's what the concept of early college and.
Linda Cannell, who was a top-notch teacher at Levington High School for many years, retired and went to the junior college, and she had to water down her high school curriculum for her college classes because of the people that were enrolled in those classes were not. Some of them had been out of high school a long time. They'd never, she had to water down her curriculum, so it wasn't even as strong as her high school curriculum. So I don't know, we can say across the board, all of these college classes match up to AP classes, because I don't believe that. We don't have any assurance of that.
No, I'm just.
You don't have assurance
I mean,
from
you
year
would
to
hope,
year either,
but
right?
yeah, right.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
For that explanation. Any other questions? I would encourage you to read through this and reach out to the superintendent. Again, thank you to the counselors.
Can we ask them if they have any opinion or? I mean, I value your opinion as well. What do y'all think about it?
You can come up here together. I'm sorry, it's not public comment time, but thank you very much. I would love to hear from the counselors, but y'all come up together. There's strength in numbers. And before we begin, I guess the question is, do you all understand the conversation, where our questions are? Not understand, I know you do, but understand where our questions are coming from. Okay. So
for your question is, do I feel like it should be weighted like any of the JC stuff?
Yeah, should all, pretty much look at the overwhelming number of, not PE, but, again, intro to psychology. Should that be weighted as an honors course because it's offered through the junior college? Do you feel like it's, and
really
we're not
an honors
holding you
course?
to this, but you guys, this is your field.
I think the core, I definitely do. I think these kids work hard to be in these classes. It's not open just to anybody. These kids have to do the acuplacer. So it is a tedious thing for them to be qualified for this. So not anybody can just go like, you know what, I want to take these classes. So I do think they should be held to that standard because they are qualified to take college level classes.
You have to understand the acuplacer, we went from the compass to the acuplacer since I've been there. Twice. The acuplacer is way harder. A lot of our students do not pass. So our population in those classes has dwindled because they can't pass the acuplacer. So do I think it's rigorous enough to compare to an AP class? Yes, I do. Okay. Because the acuplacer is still college board and AP is college board.
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize we'd gone from compass to acuplacer. Okay.
That's right, good.
No, I agree.
You're keeping good company here, But I think that yeah.
Okay, well,
I think the clarification that not every student that is like, you know what, I think I want to go to the junior college, holds a lot of weight, no pun intended,
And that's for our dual credit students that stay at Leamington High School, but that's also for early college. They have to take the acupuncture pass before they can go, so we know that they're ready to take college classes.
Okay.
So it's still.
And one of your comments goes back to what Ms. Ansel said. The number of students that are qualifying continues to decrease.
Yes.
And that is certainly a point of concern for us.
So the kids who pass the acuplacer go in, well, I guess the ITV classes then are more rigorous than some of the just regular junior college classes.
No,
They're the same level.
Yeah. The difference is on ITV, you're just broadcasted, and in the early college, you're actually physically going, and they're taking all of it.
And they stay over there all day. But they're enrolled.
Because, on ITV, you don't know what somebody can handle, so.
Yeah.
We don't want to overload them. And I do want to make a point on just like the AP. I have a hard time with the AP classes. We put students in there just from a teacher's signature that don't have no business in there. And so they get that honors weight, don't need to probably be in there versus an early college that earn that right.
Because that acuplacer doesn't apply to a student who wants to take the AP.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And we do have some students in those AP classes that are making A's and they cannot pass the acuplacer. So I think that says something.
So that's a great conversation for Mr. Williams to solve, right?
Yes.
Okay. In conjunction with you all, so. Additional questions for our counselors?
No, ma'am.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Definitely need to.
Very good information. Appreciate that.
I just want to make sure, whatever we do, that we let the kids know definitely, definitively ahead of time when they're making their decisions coming into their senior year, whether they want to, or junior year even, if they want to take the ITV classes.
That's why our counselors are here. I asked them to be here and they said, yes, we will be there, because when they start the pre-enrollment process, they're armed with this information, and that begins pretty quick. They start planning, they're already prepping and planning already, but they start those meetings, having meetings with kiddos December or January, because we've got to roll. We've got to get that master schedule done.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I'll wait. Okay. It is a first reading, so again, please reach out to the superintendent, and again, thank you to our counselors for doing a good job, and thank you, Dr. Parker, for bringing that. So. All right. Future business, just a reminder, the region board meeting is in Tatum on September 23rd. It begins at 5:30, and you will receive 3 hours of credit for board training for attending that. I believe the program part of it is gonna be talking about artificial intelligence in our schools. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, do I hear, this concludes the public portion of our meeting. Do I hear a motion to move into executive session?
So move.
Vanessa? Will you poll?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll take about a 5-minute break.